Have him call on that one. Hello, Cyber Family. It's the even more fabulous Mother Love coming at you live and in living color on this beautiful, glorious day here in SoCal. And it's not so glorious for a lot of people around the world. And we need to pray for them collectively for their well-being, that the supplies get into the people in the Gaza Strip that are over there struggling and at war, to the people in Ukraine and the people around our country. We are in a dark place of despair, but we're going to come up out of it. You know why? Because we always do. When we pool our resources together and we take our energy and we make sure that we're praying for the, for the right thing. Because as I have said before, be careful when people say they're going to pray for you, because they could be praying for your demise. We're praying for your well-being and for your good health. And one of the things that I have come to realize is a lot of us, unfortunately, don't really believe that we deserve to be in good health. And those of us who do think about that, they go from one diet to another diet. I don't think I take that back. I was going to say, I don't think I ever went on a diet, but I did. But, my attention span wasn't really long enough to maintain that. And so I did the cabbage diet once. The best thing about that, I stayed, I was able to be regular. But after that, it was like, oh, I don't think I want to be knotted up like this. And we're always looking for a quick fix. We're always looking for a way, well, I can do this. Let me lose 50 pounds before my wedding day. Okay, and your wedding day is 2 weeks away. And it's really not so much about going on a diet as it is about making sure that you're eating. I mean, they got what? It's a scabillion diets. There's new ones coming in, going out. You can't keep up with them. I remember when, the fix guy who was out there telling everybody, get out there and run, get out there and start jogging. And he dropped dead from a heart attack at 36 years old. So a lot of times, we hear things like this and we go, oh, well, I don't think I want to do that. Or this, oh, it's too late. Or I'm just old and set in my ways. They too young to be concerned about their health, and they're not. And we've got to be the leaders to let them know that we can be a good example. We could do that. And nobody's ever said it's going to be easy. And for me, it was a lifestyle change. I mean, I had to change, from the inside out. And my attitude toward food, because, food is our familiar. We eat when we're happy. I found out, when I was going through my transition that I'm an emotional eater. And people think when you say you're an emotional eater, it must be, only when, things are going on and when you're sad and you're blue, and then you start eating up everything and dumping cake in the trash can and go back before the cooties get it and take it out and eat the rest of it, and it's that mindset. And I like I said, I was an emotional eater. I ate when I was happy. I ate when I was sad. I ate when I was mad. I ate when I was glad. And it just kept going, and I didn't even think about it. I didn't think about, and I should have thought about that, because I'm going to tell you this is from experience, people. If I had known I was going to be blessed with this many years of life, I would have taken way better care of myself. As a teenager, you think you're invincible, even in your 20s and sometimes in your 30s. Well, my 20s was kind of like a blur. But, when I got to my mid-20s, I was, I woke up and realized, oh my goodness, I gotta be a grown-up. I have to make grown-up decisions. And a lot of those grown-up decisions call for you to make a sacrifice, to make a difference. And what are you willing to sacrifice? And I wasn't willing to sacrifice my life. I was like, okay, I'm only going to get this one in this particular body right here. And what am I going to do? I'm going to either trash it or take care of it, because it's not really, like an if come, you can, because we think we can get away with a lot of stuff. I don't make New Year's resolutions. Because by January the 4th, I'm like, I done went off the reservation already. I'm like, I done left the tribe, the whole thing. So I'm like, that just wasn't going to be the case. And as I got older and pieces parts start, not doing what they were supposed to be doing, not what they were meant to be, I was like, okay, well, we've got to do something. And I remember I was at this event, and we go to these Hollywood events. I'm telling you, they have the best spreads. I didn't understand how come the women came with these little bitty teeny tiny pocket purses about this big. They got it made out of lips or crystals or whatever. I'm bringing my big purse with some tinfoil. I'm just keeping it real. I would bring my big purse and some tinfoil, and I learned how to fold it up quietly because tinfoil make a lot of noise. And so we would go, and they would have these. They have these huge spreads of food. I mean, it's just so much food. You can't eat it all, and it's a buffet, or they'll have a carving station. They have a chef there carving off the lamb and the steak and the pork shoulders and carving up the turkey and everything. And you're trying to get everything on your plate. But you can't eat that much. Your stomach is only, but your heart and your stomach are about the same size as your fist. That's what they said. So you can only eat so much at a time. And then you got full. Now you're stuffing yourself, and now you're feeling guilty because you ate too much. Oh God, I ate too much. Hey, Mark Williams, sweetie pie, he's calling in, letting us know he's coming in from Cleveland town. So you know what I'm talking about, Mark. You know what we've been doing, and all this other kind of stuff. And I remember growing up, and we would see, the grandmothers and the aunties in the wheelchair, and a leg is missing. And little kids really don't have a filter, like seniors don't have a filter. And we would be, well, what happened to Big Mama leg? Well, baby, don't worry about that. That's just a little sugar. And I always thought, wait a minute, isn't the same thing that you're doing? You're coming over to me and saying, come on, baby, give me a little sugar, and then my leg gonna fall off? I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna want to be kissing on you and giving you any sugar. And then I would say, oh, come over here, baby. And no. So anyway, one of the things that we really don't think about in our community, and I'm talking about we people who are darker than blue in our communities, we don't oftentimes think about nutrition. We don't think about the foods that we're eating or what's in the food that you're eating, what's processed. And when you go in and when I was making my transition, I became an avid label reader. Well, I actually became an avid label reader when I first got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And they're like, okay, can't have any sugar. You can't have any of this. Can't have too much salt. You can't do this. You can't eat that. You can only drink water and eat air sandwiches. And I was like, okay, that's not going to work for me. We've got to find a better way to do that. And I remember going to the doctor, and they would, give you all kind of medications. And let me just say this, people, when you get a chronic condition or you in any kind of disease or ailment, know your body better than the doctor does. The doctors are practicing medicine. You live in this house. This is where all your stuff is, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, all the crazy stuff. It's all in this house. So you got to be able to understand how your house works. And everybody's household is not run the same way. For the most part, they are. Houses got a roof, and they got walls, and they got windows, and they got doors, and we have all the other stuff. And then you put the stuff in it. Think of food like, this is really a crazy analogy, but I just thought about this. Think about food as like the furniture that you put in your house, and you're the house, and then you put in the food is going to be the furniture. You want a sofa, you want a love seat, you want a whatever it is that you want to put into your house, and you're going to be meticulous about that. You got to be meticulous about what you're eating also. And one of the things I knew is, and I found out kind of like the hard way, people out here in California, a lot of them don't cook. A lot of them say they don't know how to cook. A lot of them say they don't have time to cook. I don't like cooking. It's easier for me to, just go to the store and pick up something and just bring it home. And that's what we do. One of my girlfriends, God rest her soul, she had 3 kids. And these kids were fed from a fast food restaurant every day. And she invited, how some people invite you over their house, and they really are not good housekeepers, and it's one thing to be poor, it's another thing to be trifling and nasty. Well, anyway, we go over this the first time I ever went over to her house, and it was the last time I ever went over there. So I asked her, I said, well, can I get a glass of water? She said, yeah, girl, go on in the kitchen. And because we came in through the garage and you had to come around the corner to get to her. Man, it was so many fast food buckets of chicken empty and, wrappers from different kind of fast food restaurants and, these pastries that's got everything in them. I mean, stuff, you should not eat anything that you cannot pronounce the ingredients in it. That's just my mantra, And if you can't pronounce it, and if you can't pronounce it and you don't want, learn to cook. They got cookbooks galore everywhere. So now you got online. They got a scabillion places that you can go. You can land on and make whatever it is that you want to make. You can, as long as you can read and follow and understand what you're reading and follow directions, you can be a good cook. You could be a great cook if that's what you choose to do. You can find out because cooking is therapy. And so the therapy for me is, putting all the ingredients together. Then what are those ingredients going to be? And like, I can't do it. Like I told you, I can't do a diet. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I can't do a diet because I won't remember. I'm just saying. And I was saying earlier how we don't think of how we don't think of what we're eating as nutrition. We don't think about it. We just, oh, this tastes good. Oh yeah, this will be all right. Oh, what? One donut is not gonna bother me. One bear claw, I can handle that. I can have a bear claw a week. Okay. What you think about that? If you want, make that for yourself and think about what nutrition is and how it is for you. Because when you think about it, you can't do a lot of stuff when your brain is not being fed, when your body is not being fed properly. I used to say to people, I couldn't drink water. Okay, now that was just stupid. Because your body is pretty much all water, 70%? And I didn't want to drink water. I didn't like the way it tasted. Water has no taste. You have to put the lemon and all the other stuff in it. And I was like, now I can drink my body weight in water a day. Okay. But it keeps me flushed out. Look how pretty my skin is. Look at that. See, and that's coming from staying hydrated. Okay, and some other stuff too. Okay, and makeup don't hurt either. Okay, I'm just saying. But it's important what you are doing with your body, what you're going to do with it, and how are you going to do it, and then as you get older, and you've been carrying all this weight around. I remember I was at a soiree with, with the red carpet and the rope and, everything. We were walking down the red carpet and, I was waiting my turn. And so when we get there, as soon as that, they say what they were going to say, this is Mother Love, and she does this, that, and the third. And I walked through and I just had to stop and lean on the pole that holds the red rope up. And I just felt like I was literally just disintegrating on the inside. And everybody was, they were all full of mirth and merriment, and it was a happy occasion. And my husband came over and he said, well, what's the matter? I said, I just don't feel good. I just don't feel good. I don't feel right. I just want to go home. And when I got home, I didn't say anything from the time we got in the car till the time we got out the car. And he kept saying, well, he didn't keep saying, he was quiet, and he was, just concerned about me. And when we got in the house, I said, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, what do you mean you can't do what anymore? I said, I cannot carry this weight around on me anymore. I feel like I'm dying on the inside. My knees hurt, my shoulders hurt, my back hurts, my hair was hurting, and it wasn't even my hair. Okay, well, I bought it, but still, nonetheless, and I just didn't feel right. That night, I promised myself, and I prayed to God, please give me the strength to go on this journey and change my life. And I did. And that's exactly what I did. And, a lot of people that get and be in your family and in your circle and carrying on, when you go to make a lifestyle change or a lifestyle change, whatever it is, if you're getting married, if you're going to college, if you're having kids or whatever it is, it's going to always be naysayers. So just put them in your rear view mirror, and not all you gotta do. You don't even have to keep your head on a swivel to look back there and see if they're there, because you're gonna just keep on moving, keep it moving. And I remember when I would get a great recipe, or find out something that I could do, and how can I because I hate exercise. Okay, but I hated being weak more than I hated exercise. And we think about exercise, got to go in the gym and got to put on sweats and got to go through all of this rigmarole, and you don't know where them people been touching on, who they've been sweating over. Oh, it just does something to me. So I learned how to, walk around the neighborhood. I got me a walking team. Mother loves sugar-free strollers. Yes, we do. And we would get up every morning, 7 o'clock to 7:45, and we would walk for 45 minutes just around the neighborhood. And a lot of them will say, I didn't even know this was here. So explore your neighborhood. You don't necessarily have to join a gym. You can be the gym. You don't have to be out there running, on concrete or anything like that. But you can do something. Dancing. See, I love to dance. Oh man, and I got good rhythm. I got a good beat. I got good things going on. And so I like to dance. And when you're dancing, when you're in your garden, I was trying to play a farmer in the backyard. Yeah, that didn't, well, it was working. We grew tomatoes, and we grew wait, what happened?
Having technical difficulties.
Oh, we are having technical
difficulties.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, because I'm like,
just let know you're trying to bring your guest.
I'm working to bring in our guest. His name is Robert Ferguson. He is the founder of Diet Free Life. See, I was going to segue into that, because this is a diet-free life, and he talks to us about scientifically validated nutrition that he can tell us about, that will help reduce inflation. They say that's where the doctor said that's where a lot of our ailments come from inflammation. Arthritis is from inflammation, and when your organs and what have you are swelling up in your head. Think about it like, okay, this is the analogy. Okay, if you drink alcohol and then you start going from being sober till you getting a buzz, and then you get a bigger buzz, and you can feel all your organs are swelling up. Your brain is swelling up, your heart is swelling up, everything on the inside is swelling up, and that's why a lot of people can't handle alcohol. So you got to think about that, and that causes inflammation. And when you think about it, all the stuff that could give you inflammation. Oh, and they got all these the infomercials on. Well, we could tell you how to get rid of your inflammation. We could tell you how to get rid of neuropathy. We could tell you how to, you can, be free of sciatica pain. And they say, this is going to be a short video. And then you look up and you have given up an hour and 15 minutes worth of your time, because the video could be for an hour. And then they're giving you 15 minutes about why you should buy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these bottles. Because if you don't, then you're going to always feel bad. And very few of them, especially the supplements, they don't have to be regulated by the FDA. Did you know that? You could have a vitamin or a mineral named after you. Is that what we're doing? Mm-hmm. Okay, vitamins and minerals, and just to because we take a lot of vitamins and minerals. Most of the pills that I take are supplements, and some of them I think work, but then they got to also be a placebo, and it could just be in my head. I don't know. Yeah, because I believe that everything that you need to eat is all the nutrients you need to earn. Oh Lord, what's happening over here, Lord? What? Okay. Hello. Oh, why is he talking?
Okay, that's Robert.
Is this Robert? Is this Robert?
This is Robert.
I find. Oh, thank you. We were having such difficulty. I don't know what's going on. See, that be the evil stuff. What? Okay, I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I did that.
Okay, we're gonna.
Okay, so we can. Can you hear me clearly? Okay, see, this is just confusing, Kennedy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, keep talking, Robert.
Can you hear me, Robert?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, we can hear each other. Well, let me give this gentleman a proper introduction after we have all of the. See, That's why they tell me don't touch the buttons. I didn't touch the buttons this time. Robert Ferguson. Robert Ferguson and you know how crazy my world is. Thank you for your patience and just hanging right on in there with us, because what you're talking about is very important, especially as our health and nutrition is concerned. Robert Ferguson, he is the founder of Diet Free Life and talking about food for life. He is a best-selling author, a nutritionist, a researcher, a speaker, and a board member of the Presidential Task Force on Obesity for the National Medication Association. And many people have no idea that insulin resistance is the cause of their health problems. Welcome to the program, Robert Ferguson. Tell us about how you even got involved in nutrition and wanting to do this diet-free life.
Well, I'm a mama's boy. So being a mama's boy, I saw my mom battling with her weight for years.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I grew up and got into a position where I was starting to follow suit, I was like, hey, I need to learn how to eat. And so that's really where it started. And from there, everything the universe started working with me, put me in touch with the right people, put me in a place where I continue to learn, went back, got an education on dietetics, and put together a program that's helped thousands, if not millions of people, not only live their healthiest life while eating regular everyday foods, but put them in a position where 92% of my clientele were able to get people from being a type 2 diabetic to being in remission. And some people, we've literally reversed their type 2 diabetes.
I see, and I've talked to clinicians and physicians, and they always want to say, oh, well, no, you can't reverse diabetes. Oh, no, you have to take this medication, or you have to do this, that, and the third. But they always want to keep you on some kind of prescription, because the money is not in a cure for diabetes. The money is not in people eating well and taking better care of themselves and taking better care of their families. It's in the management. And you're saying that people can eat regular everyday food like mama used to cook, well, maybe not necessarily as fatty as it was. But then when I was growing up, because I'm a baby boomer, and when I was growing up, we could eat whatever we want because we went outside and played it all off. You didn't just sit around and look at television. We had our curfew was, you better be home before the street lights come on. So that meant you got to go outside and play, and we don't play anymore. We don't send the kids, and it's gotten so dangerous that you don't want to send your kids out. How do we talk to people and get them to understand the importance of taking care of themselves so they can take care of others?
Well, like Mother Love, you know how it is. Right now, we live in a world where there's so much confusion around nutrition that no one really knows where to go. Like, no one knows what to believe. And I think that's our biggest challenge is who's right. Then the government comes out 1 week, eggs are not good. Next week, eggs are okay. 2 weeks from now, they'll say you stop drinking coffee. A month later, coffee's okay.
See?
So where do you go? So that's one of my goals. I want to be a resource for people who want the truth about food.
So when you said the truth about food, how are we being misguided? One of the things I think we're being misguided on is a lot of the processed foods, because remember, they didn't have labels on food, especially processed food. Then when they had to start putting labels on it, then it became, so small that you really couldn't even see the fine, you couldn't even see it. And, if you're in there and and you should never go to the store hungry. I know that. And read the labels, you wouldn't eat half of that. Where are we being misguided about food?
Well, okay, let's just start with sweeteners. If you go to the World Health Organization's website right now, they will tell you to not use sweeteners, to include stevia, Splenda, Equal, Sweet and Low. They'll say those are not good. We don't recommend them. But then if you go from that site to the American Heart Association, they'll say, oh, sweeteners are great. That's better than going with regular sugar. So we live in a place of hypocrisy and contradiction. Who's right? Who's wrong? And that's where we got to get out of the gray area and get to the truth. And so I know that, for instance, if you consume a 0-calorie sweetener, it can cause you to gain weight, and it can also cause you to become insulin resistant, but it's 0 calories.
See, okay, but it's something in there that's causing you to gain the weight. One of my friends she retired from being a hairstylist, and she lived on Cool Filter Kings and soda. I mean, she could drink a case of soda pop, in a day, and I was like, back then it was like, six bottles in the carton, and she could go through that. And I was like, when do you eat? Oh, I don't need to eat, girl. I just need to smoke a cigarette and drink some of my cola. And I'm like, and she was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And she was not a big person in the first place. She really was not. And she kept saying, girl, I don't know where this weight is coming from. I don't know what's going to come to find out. She went to the doctor. She was insulin resistant. They told her her body.
That's exactly what happens. The sweeteners will cause you to become insulin resistant. And here's the real take home, because you're on it. We live in a world where everything is about glucose. Everybody's constantly looking at glucose. What is your hemoglobin A1C? What was your fasting glucose?
Right.
Well, the real culprit is not glucose. It's fasting insulin. It's learning about this thing called hyperinsulinemia. Before your glucose goes up, you have elevated levels of insulin. And that is what's driving migraines and high blood pressure. That comes before you find out you're a type 2 diabetic. So if you become a type 2 diabetic, for about 10, 15, 20 years, you had elevated insulin. The injustice is that the doctors don't test your fasting insulin. They test your glucose. So they chase the symptoms and they never address the cause.
And the cause is, one of the causes are these artificial sweeteners. And one of the things, that you see, they kept telling us, the American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, they were like, okay, high fructose corn syrup is really bad for you. But when you look at 97 million different products, the first ingredient, high fructose corn syrup.
Yep.
So
high fructose corn syrup, I mean, it causes insulin resistance. It also shows up as fatty liver. I mean, if you go back to 1979, no one had non-alcoholic fatty liver. Today, at least 25% of all adults walking around, male and female, have non-alcoholic fatty liver.
And that's
which is a symptom of insulin resistance.
So are we being misled about, diabetes and what we can do and what we cannot do? Because I had a doctor tell me one time, I said, what can I do to help me reduce weight? I don't want to take another pill. What can I do? He said, well, you just need to go on insulin. And I said, well, but I don't want to go on insulin. There's got to be something else that I can do, that I can take control of, besides just going on insulin. He said to me, to my face, he said, well, you might as well just go on insulin, because most fat black women like you are not going to follow the protocol anyway. So why don't you just go on insulin, because you're not going to follow the protocol? And I was like, he did not just tell me most fat black women. I just said, see, and that's someone telling you, think about the people and how they're saying it to so many other people that's not mother love. What? That's the same thing I said. So if you're talking to me like this, and I could go and bust you out on the radio and on TV in a toot sweet. What are you saying to your other patients? He said, well, I'm just going to tell you, they don't want to follow the protocol, and I'm tired of them coming in talking about their feet swelling up and they having heart problems because they don't want to follow, and you just going to be like the rest of them. I said, well, no, because first of all, you're mistaken. I am not a fat black woman. I am a large brown-skinned woman. My jacket is black. Give me your phone. And he was an endocrinologist. I called my primary care physician. I didn't even know the man could use language like that. He went up one side of him and down the other one, and got me I got another doctor. And that's another thing. We don't want to go to the doctor. We want to wait till it's all late. And they're talking about cutting off your toe. And the doctor told you were insulin resistant. And that's the obstacle that I see that people just simply don't want to listen. They don't want to do the work, but they want the results. And then they go on these different diets because they got a new one. Okay, can you go through some of these diets and maybe help us understand them better? Because you talk about a diet-free life. Now they got a new one. I don't know if this is new or not. Intermittent fasting. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out the Paleo diet.
That's another new one.
Okay, the intermittent fasting.
Yep, that's another new one.
I don't understand that one. So you don't eat, then you eat, and then you don't eat for a long time?
Correct. So intermittent fasting is one of those things that looks like it's a good thing. And it may actually work for some people on the outside. But what happens is if you're a woman, let's say over the age of 50, and you start to do intermittent fasting, well, you're not eating for a long period of time, and your body is looking for protein.
Right.
If you're not getting protein when your body is looking for it, guess what? It's going to rob your skeletal muscle of protein, and that's going to put you in an extremely vulnerable place.
And what about
So it looks like it's working, but it's not working.
It might be working on the outside, but it's doing some other kind of damage on the inside. And for people like me, when I first heard that, I was like, intermittent fasting, and I think I don't know how many hours it is that you go. I have to eat. I have to eat like at least 3 or 4 times a day. Every so often. I couldn't even go 8 hours without eating, without getting loopy. Most of us don't. You see people, that's why they put vending machines in offices, because they're working and they don't get up and eat breakfast. And is breakfast still considered the most important meal of the day?
I would say it's 100% the most important meal of the day. And I have reasons to back that up, because it's all about skeletal muscle as you get older. If you lose, for instance, let's say you lose weight and you're 60 years old, and if 8% of that weight comes from your skeletal muscle, you just increase your chances of a heart attack by 300%.
Wait, what? Wait, say that. Wait.
When you lose skeletal muscle,
and okay. Wait, and listen, we're already backtracking, and now you're saying if you lose skeletal muscle, and as we get older, our muscles do thin out, especially if you're not a really active person, and they thin out. And if you lose weight too fast, something can happen. They put me on a medication, and I lost 41 pounds in a month. In 3 months, I take that back. Over the summer, 41 pounds. And I was like, how come my clothes aren't fitting me? And my husband kept saying, you're losing way too fast. You're losing way too fast. It was the medication. And oftentimes, they give you medications that have these adverse side effects. And how can we even maneuver through that when we're trying to, eat a decent diet? We don't, a lot of us, especially after you get a certain age, you're not going to the bathroom too regular, and that can be a problem as well. What ought we to be doing, and how can we reverse inflammation? Because there's, you said that there is scientifically validated nutrition to reduce inflammation. And, we hear all of this now about the gut. Everything starts in the gut. Talk about that for us.
Well, the gut is think about mental health, right? People talk about it a lot. But here's the reality. If I ask you, where is serotonin produced? Do you know?
In my brain.
And that's what most people will say.
Oh, it's not produced?
93% of serotonin, 93% is produced in your gut, called your gut microbiome.
Well, now.
So if you have a disrupted gut, then you're going to have some mental health challenges. So get your gut in check, and then you'll notice you don't need SSRI. Right? I don't need to take depression medication because I got my gut health in check.
Really? Now it makes sense, because all of our pieces parts have to work together. Our brain talks to the rest of our body, and our body talks to our brain. So that makes a lot of sense. And is that we hear that when you're carrying your weight around the middle, that's when it can be really dangerous. When you look at, you can look at some people, and from the back they look all right. They turn around and their stomach gets there before the rest of them gets there. And Well, you've seen it. I've seen it. I mean, I see. And what's scary and frightening to me is our young people. We have a serious obesity problem among our young kids. I mean, these kids are being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at 13, 14, 15 years old. They're drinking liters of soda and all this processed food and not wondering, well, I don't really eat a lot, but you drink a liter of soda pop that they say that has so much sugar in it that our white refined sugar is 10 times more potent and addictive than cocaine. That ought to tell you something right there, don't you think?
Well, I mean, it says a lot, but it's not even the obvious things like sugar in a soda that's causing the problems. It's the things that we're not even assuming would cause the problems, like agave nectar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen people buy tea who are real health conscious people,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll buy agave and then use that instead of honey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, agave is like 90% made up of fructose.
See, they give it a fancy name and we'll go out and buy it. Oh, it'll be all right. And we're
yeah, that's the world we live in.
So how can we wean ourselves? Where do we start? Because everybody's not at the same place. I wanted to lose weight for my health reasons, and heart attacks and diabetes ran rampant in my family. We started out 8 in our family, in our immediate family. There are 2 of us left out of 8 of our immediate family members. And I said, well, I just didn't want to live unhealthy. I wanted to, make a change in my life. And one of the biggest things I did was quit smoking cigarettes. And then I said, okay, I can quit smoking cigarettes and, quit some other of my bad, costly habits and turn my life around and get myself. I'm still a work in progress. Don't get me wrong. I am still a work in progress. There are plenty of things that I still got time to do. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about it, because you're saying that we are being misguided about the food that we eat. Get us on the right track, because you said we can do this eating regular everyday food.
We can, but there's a learning curve, right? So it's more of, how do I get what I know to be something that everyone else knows?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. I want to give everyone the knowledge and insight that I have so that they become informed. And once you're informed, you're less likely to be influenced by people who are misinformed.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's where we got to go. Yeah, that's where we got to go. So, one of the things that I'm doing, like I have this thing I'm doing called Food as Medicine.
Uh-huh.
It's a virtual conference, and I'll send you access to it because it starts on October 27th, 28th. And it's a virtual conference, so if people can be there live, great. If they can't, they have an on-demand feature to it.
Okay.
And the goal is just to get people informed. I just want to give away the knowledge. As Jack LaLanne told me back in the day, he says, Robert, if you're excited about something and you really want to make a difference, don't keep what you know a secret. You need to start sharing.
Wow, you met Jack LaLanne?
Not only did I meet him, I knew Jack extremely well.
Oh, wow.
I spent a lot of quality time with him.
He really changed the world of exercise and nutrition, and it's good to know that you've picked up the gauntlet and continue to grow with it. Now, can you talk about the conference that you're having and the metabolic matrix? I was fascinated about that. Tell us about the metabolic matrix, just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, the metabolic matrix. I'm glad you got it.
I read the material.
You're on top of things. I appreciate that.
I wanted to know.
The matrix is, a lot of the matrix is looking at how food not only just helps us with weight loss and all those things, but the connection between what's growing in the ground and what you end up consuming on your plate. So we're talking about overall health. That's part of the connection.
Mm-hmm.
As you just mentioned, there's a connection to the brain. Because a lot of people don't want Alzheimer's, but yet we're seeing more and more people experiencing dementia and Alzheimer's. And we have a pretty good inclination on why so many people are falling prey to dementia and Alzheimer's.
What?
And the biggest culprit in that space is high fructose corn syrup.
Now, isn't that something? And these are the products that get through the Food and Drug Administration when they know that it's like they're making new patients. Like it's like a vicious circle. Okay, we know that this is bad, but most people will eat it because it tastes good, and then we'll just deal with it later. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, think about it.
Well, I'm gonna share something. I'm gonna share something with you that's gonna make you fall over. You
okay,
ready?
well, let me hold on to something because I'm prone to fall over. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. So we know that sweetener aspartame. There's a lot of companies, organizations that say it's carcinogenic. It causes cancer.
Right.
But yet it's in almost everything, right? Chewing gum, drinking a diet soda is everywhere. Guess who owns aspartame? Take a wild guess.
Don't tell me it's DuPont.
Not DuPont, but Pfizer.
The pharmaceutical company?
Exactly.
Oh, see now.
You already nailed it. You didn't even know that, but you're right on point.
Sweet. And I gotta tell you this.
That's right.
And that diabetes and all of the other maladies that come from having diabetes and not taking care of people is a $385 billion every 365 days industry. They making money hand over fist. One company has a lock on kidney dialysis centers, and they don't advertise, and there's a privately held company, DaVita. They don't let other people in. You can't buy a kidney dialysis machines. If you go to open up one, they will shut you down. They got a lock on this. So it's not really a conspiracy theory because that means we're making it up. But Pfizer owns the aspartame. They told us they had to take it out of everything, but they put it back. Are they calling it something else?
Yeah. Well, the goal is let's keep you kind of sick and sick enough where we have to give you some of our other medications.
See.
So one day I was given an opportunity to present an award to Dick Gregory. And I looked up to Dick Gregory and wanted the meeting because at one point he had the Bohemian Diet.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And Dick was known for health as well as civil rights and being a comedian.
Right.
So I'm there and we meet I introduced Dick to my friend. His name was Bernardo. Bernardo was 113 years old. And never went to the hospital. Never got sick. And Dick was 83 at the time and he says, Robert, the insurance healthcare world, they hate him.
Oh.
And I was like, they hate who? He goes, they hate Bernardo. Because if everybody was like that, they would shut down.
113 years old.
The healthcare industry is 113.
Isn't
113. When we get together next month for National Diabetes Awareness Month, I'll share some pictures with Bernardo. He was the epitome of health. And the day that he died at 114 years old, he had a little cough, which he never really had a little cough, but he had a cough. And he closed his eyes and he passed.
That was it? That was awesome.
That was it.
And they have some people that live in China that live to be that age and they don't get sick. I mean, they've got, complete control of their faculties. You can see that they're aging from their skin, but not from their activity. I mean, they're stooping and bending and planting and, laughing and joking and everything. And that's what I said. A lot of people don't think that they deserve to be in good health. And when you think about that, there's somebody that you knew, you knew Jack LaLanne and Dick Gregory. I did get to meet Dick Gregory and spend some time with him. That was awesome. And he said I was a very funny lady. And he said, "You smart. Do people know how smart you are?" I was like, "Shh, don't tell people that. Just hold that down." And we just had a great time. And he was really about, especially people in our community, about understanding good nutrition and how important it was because he lived a long time as well. And that's what we can look forward to, because we can take control of a lot of the things that we're going through that we don't necessarily have to go through. And that is like taking control. I want to hear some more about that when you say regular everyday food. I mean, I eat regular everyday food, and I do eat some things. We're big on fruits and vegetables, and after you get to BRAs, you need to be on a lot of fruits and vegetables. But start before you get to adulthood. Let me ask you this, Robert. You said you was a mama's boy. When you was growing up, were you allergic to food or any kind of food?
No, there wasn't a lot of people allergic to food back then compared to now.
Why do you think that is? I mean, because kids will say, well, I don't eat broccoli. I don't eat Brussels sprouts. I don't eat this. I'm allergic to peanut butter. I'm allergic to kiwi. I found out pine nuts didn't like me, and neither does kiwi like me. And I didn't even know that because I had never eaten pine nuts before. And I ate the pine nuts at the fair. My face swelled up real big, and they were like, okay, you're allergic to pine nuts. This is an allergic reaction. Don't have to have pine nuts like ever again. But I don't remember getting sick from food or being allergic to food when we were growing up. And you ate what was put on the table. You ate what was put on the table, plain and simple.
Well, if you talk to enough gastroenterologists, they will confirm what you just said. So what happens is kids aren't eating the way you ate and the way I ate. We ate what was given to us. There wasn't options. And you had to eat it. Well, when you do that, your gut, your microbiome, which you hear people talking about, your microbiome is given to you by your mom at birth. Once you have that microbiome, it's nurtured based on the foods that are introduced to you, right? So from breast milk, eating broccoli, to peanut butter, and your gut acclimates to the food that you're eating, and it learns to flourish. And that's how it all begins. Today, you got kids whose parents are on a keto diet. They're not eating normally. The kids dictate what is eaten in the house. You have all of these nuances that's creating this space or this gap where we're not eating the way we once ate. And so the gut has changed. So if you didn't eat peanut butter as a kid, and then you bring it in at 7 for the first time at school, you may have a negative reaction.
Okay.
It's kind of like, going over to a foreign country after you're a teenager and eating some of the foods. They may not go well with your gut. So our environment, right? So that's what we have going on right now. We have a fascination with dieting, avoiding food, not eating fruits and vegetables, because a lot of parents are like, well, honey's high in sugar anyway. And that's a damn right lie.
They said that's the only food.
The same people doing keto-friendly stuff and sweeteners. Come on.
See, that's where people get confused, because it's like you said earlier. We don't know who to believe. Excuse me. We don't know who to believe. The paleo, the low carb, the vegetarian. What's the difference between a vegetarian and a vegan diet? Excuse me. And the new one, intermittent fasting. That means you go hungry for a long time and then you start eating. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Your body will start to retaliate, I would think. And couldn't that hurt? Excuse me, I don't know what I got.
It doesn't make sense, but when you have someone who looks fit and you have someone who has 1 million followers, then people are going to do what that person is encouraging them to do.
And what would you encourage?
We're not.
Go ahead. I said, go ahead. You said we're not a.
We're no longer looking at facts. We're more into if everyone's running left, let's follow on.
But then if it could be leading you off the left cliff too. They could be leading you down the wrong path. And how?
It is leading.
And how do?
Right now, think about this. Today, you have more young people under the age of 35 that are being diagnosed with cancer than any other time since we've been recording.
Now that is scary. And from what I can understand, especially young Black women, they're developing a very aggressive form of cancer under 35. And I've seen this firsthand it's bad.
I'm telling you right now, it's so bad. Like this morning, if you look at Black folks, we are just, it's almost like it's been planned. Like a black woman and man is more likely to be amputated if they get type 2 diabetes.
Right.
Three times more compared to a Caucasian, counterpoint.
Right.
You have black women are more likely to discover they have breast cancer at stage 3, stage 4, compared to Caucasian, which they're going to catch it at stage 1. You have obesity right now for black women in America is at 67%.
67%.
Whereas the national average with everyone else is 43%.
And a lot of it is emotional eating. Women have gone through traumatic phases in their lives, and food is their familiar, and they get comfortable, because that's the one thing that doesn't let them down. They know they can cook a good meal and they can eat as much as they want, and then they feel guilty, and it's a vicious cycle that you have to get off. And I think I believe it starts with your mindset, because if you believe you can do a thing, you could do a thing. If you believe you can't do a thing, you can't do that thing. So either way, you're going to be right. I would rather say I want to do the thing. And if it were easy, everybody would do it. And it's not. It's a mindset. And we can reverse it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, Mother Love, what if it was easy?
Everybody should jump on the bandwagon. That's why, that's why I believe in what you're doing and have followed you and will continue to. Because when you talk, the first thing you said when we had our very first conversation, those many years ago, when you were talking about diet-free life, and I'm like, And when you met me, I was a big girl. And you explained to us about nutrition and the importance of it, and that it could you could do all these things, and then you added new things, and you got new things that you want to teach people. Now, tell us again about the Food for Life, Food is Medicine, the conference that you have coming up.
So we have a Food as Medicine conference. It's actually a conference course / certification. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to certify people to share with other people food is medicine. And so when I first surveyed people about medicine, some people think medicine is something that's toxic and can kill you, and some people think medicine can save you. So it helps to bring clarity to that. And then if you ask people what is food, you get a whole bunch of different answers. Right? So if you ask your audience and say, hey, you guys, define food. Can someone define food for me? Everyone's going to say something totally different.
But what is it? Food is the nourishment for our bodies.
Right. Something that nourishes your body for growth. Something that contributes to your body. That's food. So the high fructose corn syrup, is that food?
That's some kind of chemical stuff. No. See, for me, food grows out of the ground or on a tree or on a bush, and if it swims, I'm going to eat it. I'm telling you, I love fish. I could eat it every single day. I could eat fish. Yes, I could. And that was another thing, because I'm changing my eating habits, because I stopped eating red meat. And that's what Miranda Hopkins said. She said she started replacing her 3 meals with fresh fruit and vegetables and vegetable juice. And she stopped eating red meat. I'm there with you. I stopped eating red meat 45 something years ago. And I was like, God, if you get me through this.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So why did you stop eating red meat?
I couldn't get it out my system. I got so sick from it. I was sick as a dog. I could not pass it. It was just like a big brick in my stomach. And it got so bad, I was starting to get toxic. And so I said, something is wrong. I got to go to the doctor. My eyes turned really, really red and really funny colors. My breath smelled funny. I just felt sick. And they found out that I had an intestinal blockage because I had undigested flesh in my system. And I said, God, you get me off this table, because they was rotor-rooting me. I was drinking stuff and going. It was like 12 hours. I thought I was going to die. And then they were giving me liquids to keep me hydrated. And I was like, I will not have to pray about this ever again. And I never ate red meat again. I quit eating pork because it kept giving me a headache, and everybody was like, especially at our house, they cooking 50 pounds of chitlins and hog maws and fat back and all kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm not eating that. Now, you shouldn't eat anything that starts with chit. That's just me. And I wouldn't eat it. And then when I said, you think you better than everybody? I said, no, I just don't like that. And then when I did try them, I had the worst headache like ever. And I said, I'm not going to do this again either. And I have not eaten red meat or pork since I've been out here. I haven't eaten pork since I've been out here in California. And I've been out here since 1989. And so it was a lifestyle change. And I don't miss it. But I did say this. If they come and tell me, they say, Mother Love, you got 3 months to live, I'm going to go get me a case of ribs and a pork shoulder, a pork chop, and some bacon. And I'm going to have me a feast for the week. And my body will probably completely shut down. It won't kill me, but it'll shut it down. But seriously, I don't miss it. I really don't. And you learn to eat other foods. And I don't cook with salt either. That's another thing. I don't cook with salt. Hey, I need you, Jordan. She's joining us. How y'all doing? So somebody has a question. So who are people body weight being compared to? She's asking. So who are people?
Body weight,
Right, because they got the body mass index, and they say if you got 25% of a body mass index, you're considered obese. Okay, but really? Is that the case?
The body mass index was created in around 1835 by a guy named Adolf Kepler, and it was based on cadavers of 4 to 6 white men. And at that time, we were shorter. There was nothing in place for women. That didn't come into the early 1900s. So yes, the BMI is not accurate. Unfortunately, it's a measurement that is used around the world to collect data, but it's not accurate. So that question is a great question because a lot of people are being condemned to be obese, and they're not.
You don't have to be. Okay. We have in America, it's called the Standard American Diet. And they were telling us, we got the food pyramid. Remember, all the stuff was on the bottom, and then the stuff you couldn't eat was on the top. And then they said, no, we got to turn it upside down. It's like you were saying earlier. They would tell us, well, eggs are bad for you. Now they're good for you. You shouldn't drink coffee. You shouldn't drink tea. That's bad for you. Don't drink milk, and so on and so forth. And what I found out is most of us, most people of color, Italian people, Jewish people, Black people, Latino people, a lot of us are dairy intolerant. We can't even digest lactose. Yeah. I can't digest lactose. And I'm going to tell you why I know I can't digest lactose, because for me, people milk is for baby people. Cow milk is for baby cows. Cow milk is not for baby people. Our son did not drink cow milk. I think he was 6. And he went to spend some time with our family in Ohio. And we all lived in Ohio and Cleveland. And he was spending some time with them. And they gave him a bowl of cereal, with milk. This child got so sick it wasn't even funny. And they didn't know what was going on. I said, did y'all feed him cow milk? They was like, yeah. I said, he don't drink cow milk. His body totally rejected it. Totally. And that brought up a point when you said about peanut butter earlier, that your body won't recognize it because you don't have your, what is it called? Your microbiome. Pronounce that for me.
That's right.
Did I pronounce it right?
Microbiome.
Your microbiome. Yep. Tell people what that is, just, kind of quick what that is, so when they hear it, they'll know it.
Well, your microbiome is your intestinal tract. It goes from your mouth all the way to your anus.
Mm-hmm.
So everything in there that includes your small intestine, your large intestine. Your large intestine is your colon. That's all of your microbiome. And in there you have 38 trillion microbes that are very important. And
who counts them? Wait, who counts them?
Said that all disease begins in the gut. That was over 2,000 years ago.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And it still is the same because the human bodies are still made the same with all of those. And my thing is, who counts 300 trillion microbes? And the fact that when your gut is not healthy, the rest of you will not be healthy. So again, you're having the conference for certification. This is coming up October 27th and 28th of this year.
Yep. This year, 2023, it's called Food and Medicine. If they go to my website, you can learn more. There's one button on there, so we're actually working on my site as we speak.
Okay.
That the person can click on. It says, just click on the little lines. If you're on your phone, you'll see Food and Medicine. Click on that, and then you'll find out everything about it.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for your patience at the beginning. We really appreciate everything that you're doing. Know that you're always welcome here, because we are never going to get enough information about good nutrition. And I thank you that you are on our side. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Ferguson, the founder of Diet Free Life and Food for Life. And we know we love you, and there's nothing you can do about mother loving you. Remember this: no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, it matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love now and then. Thank you, Miranda, and all of you all who chimed in with us. Have a blessed one. Everybody be